company layoff left me jobless at the age of 35. A friend recommended me for a job at a gas station, claiming I could earn over $10,000 a month. Skeptical yet curious, I arrived at this suburban gas station, only to find an endless stream of cars refueling every night. All of this was because the station also had a stunning female employee. 01. The gas station where I now work was recommended by a close friend. He swore up and down that I'd definitely make over $10,000 a month and might even solve my lifelong dilemma. He hyped up the job so much it sounded like a dream come true. In the end, I couldn't resist the allure of that 5-figure salary and took the job. But on my very first day, I regretted it. The gas station was in the middle of nowhere. During the day, barely any cars passed by, and to make matters worse, the signal was abysmal. My usual way of killing time was scrolling through short videos. But now, a 10-second clip would buffer for a full minute. I was so frustrated I wanted to smash my phone. Still, there was one perk. My night shift coworker, Shun Weiwei, was even prettier than a TV star, standing at a striking 170 centimeters. She was a dazzling sight in this desolate wilderness. Not only was she gorgeous, but her personality was impeccable, a classic Southern girl with a soft-spoken voice and fair, glowing skin that practically shimmered in the sunlight. I still remember my first day here. I was new and unprepared, and by nightfall, my stomach was growling with hunger, but there was nowhere to eat. Then Shin Weiwei pushed open the door to my room, carrying a big bag of snacks. At the time, I was fuming over the terrible internet, but the moment I saw her walk in, the curses on my lips died in my throat. My eyes lit up brighter than the dormitory lights. She wasn't wearing her work uniform, but a light blue dress. As she approached, the stale cigarette smoke around me seemed to dissipate, replaced by the faint, intoxicating scent of her perfume. Let's be honest, any man would struggle not to stare at a beauty like her. Big bro, it's your first day, right? Her radiant smile made the late night feel a little less lonely. Yeah, I stammered, a 35-year-old man suddenly feeling awkward, even restless. The room suddenly felt too warm. I hadn't even noticed the lingering cigarette smell before. You stop noticing the stench when you live in a fish market, but her fragrance made me self-conscious. I quickly got up to open the window. After opening it, I stood there, not daring to turn around. The relentless chirping of cicadas poured in through the window. Then, Shun Weiwei laughed, a teasing sort of laugh. What's wrong? Big bro, are you shy? Don't tell me you're single. Wanted to introduce you to one of my girlfriends. I turned around with an awkward chuckle, too embarrassed to respond, maybe sensing my bashfulness. She didn't press further. Instead, she started explaining the job. She said the night shift ran from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., 12 hours in total. Though the hours were long, the work was easy. If things were slow, we could even nap at our stations. And with that 5-figure salary, I'd already confirmed the details with management before joining. Behind the gas station was Shun Weiwei's domain, a convenience store where everything was ridiculously overpriced. Anyone who's driven on the highway knows a bottle of water can cost 10 yuan, let alone the rest of the food. But the drivers who travel long distances on this road are all earning hard-earned money, almost all self-sufficient, and few are willing to buy from such stores. Listening to Shun Weiwei's explanation, I suddenly felt the chips in my hand turn into a hot potato. If a bottle of water costs 10 yuan, how much must this big bag of snacks in front of me cost? 02, perhaps noticing my shock and concern, Shun Weiwei chuckled softly. What are you thinking? Afraid I'd scam you? You can eat and take whatever you want from my supermarket. I won't charge you a single cent. Just don't touch the premium liquor behind the counter. Hearing her teasing, I felt a bit embarrassed. Wait, why do you even have alcohol here? I suddenly grew puzzled. After all, this was a gas station. The drivers who came here were all behind the wheel. Drinking would be no different from courting death. Seeing my naive expression, Shun Weiwei laughed again. Those bottles aren't for sale. They're gifts for customers who recharge here. At the mention of recharging, I suddenly remembered the strange rules the gas station manager had told me about. Night shifts meant no leaving the station, no unauthorized contact with customers. But the most baffling rule was about recharging. Customers who recharge over 10,000 yuan get a token. Black for under 100,000. Red for 100,000. And gold for over 300,000. Whenever a customer recharges, both Shun Weiwei and I get a commission. Those who recharge can use their color tokens to access different tiers of guest room for rest. The rooms are practically 5-star hotel quality, allowing them to drink a little and sleep it off before hitting the road safely the next day. But after working here for half a month, the passing cars were few and far between, and even fewer stopped to refuel. Not a single one was willing to recharge. The more I thought about it, the more unreliable it seemed. Any long-haul driver knew big trucks had massive fuel tanks. Those drivers would never bother with a recharge card at some suburban gas station. That night, a light rain began to fall. Seeing no customers at the station, I went to Shun Weiwei's supermarket to grab a bite and chat to pass the time. Don't you think our boss is out of his mind? Who'd want to recharge in a place like this? All these rules feel like a waste of effort. Those bottles on your shelf will probably expire before anyone takes them. I stared at the rain outside, venting about the boss's rules. Shen Weiwei sat on the single sofa behind the counter, her dark hair casually tousled, her voice light, yet carrying the youthful energy unique to girls her age. Not necessarily. Maybe we'll give some away tonight. Doubt it. With this weather, I bet even long-haul drivers are staying off the road. I exhaled deeply, looking at the pitch-black sky outside. Hearing this, Shen Weiwei suddenly straightened up, her eyes gleaming with mischief. I have a feeling someone will recharge tonight. How about a bet? I bet someone will recharge tonight. Maybe even 100,000 yuan in one go. Staring at her excited expression, I paused for a moment before nodding. You're on. After all, she was just a girl, no experience driving at night, let alone working here. On a night like this, even seasoned drivers would avoid the road, much less come to this godforsaken suburb just to recharge 100,000 yuan for 2 bottles of wine. 03 before I could finish my mental rant. A sharp screech of brakes echoed outside the supermarket. The sound startled me so much I jumped up from my seat, my heart pounding with disbelief. Huh. There really are people this crazy. Shen Weiwei looked at my astonished expression, her face brimming with pride as she led me outside to greet the customer. Once outside, I finally got a clear look. It was a minivan. And not just any minivan, but an ancient relic of a car, its front emblem long gone. The hood rusted in places. This thing wouldn't even fetch 10 grand in a used car lot. Could someone driving this kind of junk really afford to top up over 10,000? Doubtful, to say the least. I raised an eyebrow at Shen Weiwei, a smirk playing on my lips, signaling that I was sure to win our bet. Then, out of the car, stepped a pot-bellied man, his scalp balding in a classic Mediterranean pattern. He gave me a once-over, glanced at Shen Weiwei, and then pulled a briefcase from the passenger seat. Top up, he barked, tossing the bag into my arms before striding into the store. The moment I caught it, I realized how heavy it was. When I opened it, my jaw nearly hit the floor. It was stuffed full of thick wads of cash. The man's voice boomed again, brimming with confidence. Hurry up, make it 100,000. I froze on the spot. Since when did rich people drive cars like this? My head was spinning, and it took me a long moment to snap out of it. Even after the man finished his transaction, taking the red card and bottle of wine Shen Weiwei handed him, I was still standing outside in a daze. Just moments ago, I've been so smug about our bet. Now, the memory alone made me cringe with embarrassment. But Shen Weiwei, who had left with the man, seemed to vanish into thin air. I waited and waited, but she never came back. By the time 7 a.m. rolled around, almost the end of my shift, Shen Weiwei suddenly called, asking me to bring her some things. Over the phone, she kept changing her order, 1 minute asking for chips, the next for various drinks, while constantly quizzing me about the prices. A suspicion crept into my mind. Logically, someone who could afford to drop 100 grand on a membership shouldn't be sweating a few bucks. So why was she nitpicking over prices now? The call dragged on for over 20 minutes before she finally settled on her snacks. Just as I was about to print the receipt, she said it wasn't necessary and told me to bring everything straight to the guest room. I glanced at the single bottle of soda and handful of snacks in my hands, silently scoffing. If that guy from last night was broke, why had he dropped 100 grand without blinking? And if he was loaded, why was he being so stingy over a few cheap snacks? As I walked, something suddenly clicked. Wait a minute, those drinks and snacks were all Shen Weiwei's usual favorites. If she was just grabbing snacks for herself, why would she care about the price? But then why had she kept asking about it earlier? I mentally tallied up the cost. Exactly 110 yuan. Hold on. 110. I stiffened, a chill running down my spine as cold sweat beaded on my forehead. The man had arrived at midnight. It was now 7:30 a.m., 7.5 hours. Had Shen Weiwei been in that room the entire time, all night, alone with a man? Was that 100 grand he'd spent last night actually payment for her? Panic surged through me. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to think. Shen Weiwei didn't seem like the type. She was beautiful, kind. Why would she do something like that for money? Then, was the 110 yuan a coded message? Was she trying to tell me to call the police? Just as I was wrestling with what to do, a loud argument erupted from the hallway upstairs. The sound of a woman's voice sent a jolt through me. It was Shen Weiwei. A woman spent the night in a room. Could the 100,000 yuan that man recharged last night be payment for Shen Weiwei? I panicked instantly, took a deep breath, and then reconsidered. Shen Weiwei didn't seem like the kind of girl who would do such things. She was so beautiful and had such a good personality. How could she do something like that for money? So, was the price of 110 her way of hinting that I should call the police for her? Just as I was at a loss for what to do, a heated argument suddenly erupted in the hallway upstairs. The sound of a woman's voice made my heart skip a beat. It was Shen Weiwei. 0 for I quickened my pace and stopped at the third-floor stairwell, holding my breath. The moment I arrived, I saw Shen Weiwei raise her hand and slap a girl standing in front of her. Lu Ro. I brought you here to work. Don't you know what you're supposed to do? Shen Weiwei frowned, scolding Lu Ro harshly. Lu Ro, on the other hand, had been knocked to the ground by the slap, clutching her already swollen cheek without daring to speak. Faint sobs could be heard. You even dared to sneak away. Boss Wong specifically asked for you today, and this is how you act on your first day. You were the one who begged me to bring you here. Is this how you repay me? If you can't even handle this much hardship, how do you expect to make money? Do you have any idea that if you offend Boss Wong today, I'll be dragged down with you? Listening to Shen Weiwei's words, I felt an overwhelming sense of unease. Lu Ro covered her face, tears welling up in her eyes. Her clear gaze made it obvious she was just a recent graduate, new to the workforce, pitifully apologizing over and over. I'm sorry, Weiwei Jia. It's my first day, and I wasn't mentally prepared yet. What kind of mental preparation do you need to serve people here? This is your job. Did you think you were still a student in school? Hurry up and go apologize to Boss Wong. If you keep this up, even I won't be able to protect you. After berating Lu Ro, Shen Weiwei tossed her a pack of tissues, telling her to wipe her face clean before going back into the room to apologize. The moment Lu Ro turned around, she spotted me at the corner. Our eyes met, and I froze in embarrassment before I could figure out what to say. A sharp pain exploded at the back of my head, and everything went black as I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I felt something pressing against my hand, which had gone numb from the weight. The warm, soft sensation made me instinctively squeeze, and whatever was in my hand trembled in response. Hey, what are you doing? A playful scolding snapped me fully awake. Only then did I realize what my hand was resting on. Shen Weiwei was sitting beside me, playing a game on her phone. Her expression a mix of reproach and bashfulness as she looked at me, and my hand was trapped under her. My heart skipped a beat. Glancing around, I realized I was lying on a bed in a dorm room, not mine, but Shen Weiwei's. How did I get here? I had just been at the third floor stairwell moments ago. Shen Weiwei didn't seem angry about me squeezing her. Instead, she teased, "You're something else." Huh? Falling asleep on a gas station chair that hard. I fell asleep. No way. The scene from earlier was still vivid in my mind. It couldn't have been a dream. I immediately pulled out my phone and checked the call log. It was gone. The record of last night's call had disappeared. What are you doing? Shen Weiwei asked as her game ended. Unable to hold back my confusion, I told her everything I remembered and asked why she had hit Lu Ro. 05 Shen Weiwei touched my forehead. Then hers. Did sleeping make you stupid or something? Why are you spouting nonsense the moment you wake up? If you want snacks, just grab them yourself. I don't need you to pay, but bring me a bottle of water while you're at it. Shen Weiwei made a playful gesture like she was about to pinch me, startling me into dashing off to the supermarket while she went back to her game. Watching her innocent, carefree expression, my confusion only deepened. Maybe I really had been dreaming. How could this gentle, adorable Shen Weiwei be the same fierce person from last night? They were completely different people. I must have been half asleep. I grabbed a pile of her favorite snacks from the store, but when I went to pick out drinks, I froze. Last night, while searching for her drink, I messed up the order of several bottles, and now, they were still in the exact same disarray. There was no way I misremembered this. In an instant, I felt deceived. Shen Weiwei had been putting on an act. What had really happened last night? And why was she lying to me? I abandoned the rest of the snacks and strode back to her dorm. But the moment I saw her sprawled out, playing games, all my questions and accusations lodged in my throat like a fishbone. Impossible to voice. I just couldn't reconcile the Shen Weiwei in front of me with the ruthless figure from the night before. Where's my water? Shen Weiwei looked up when she noticed me lingering at the door. She tossed her phone aside and walked over, brows slightly furrowed. Huh? Why is your face so red? You're not running a fever, are you? It was summer, and in the comfort of her own dorm. She was dressed casually, loose, comfortable clothes that left little to the imagination. Her skin was truly pale, especially where it peeked through with each step. I was already much taller than her, and now, nothing blocked my view. Yet she seemed completely unbothered, pulling my stiff, motionless self into the room and looping her arm through mine. My heart pounded so hard, I thought my neck might lock up from the tension. Remember the bet we made last night? She asked, grinning as if oblivious to my turmoil. I won. So, how should I punish you? Her voice grew softer, lingering pointedly on the word, punish. Her large, sparkling eyes held a teasing glint, and the warmth of her pressed against my arm sent my thoughts spiraling into chaos. Are you stupid? You still don't get it. Her voice dropped even lower, but the meaning behind her words grew unmistakable. Her scent flooded my senses, dizzying me. At this point, it wasn't even a hint. It was an outright declaration. How could I, a grown man, not understand? Impulse took over, and I cast aside my doubts. Unexpectedly, Shen Weiwei suddenly grew shy, turning her face away and covering it with her hands, refusing to meet my eyes. Then, her phone lit up with a message from Boss Wong. That girl last night wasn't up to par. You need to train her better. Next time, find someone who knows the ropes. Shen Weiwei, still shielding her eyes, had no idea I'd seen it. She kept urging me on, and despite the storm of questions in my mind, I surrendered to instinct. Later, as I looked at Shen Weiwei, exhausted and drenched in sweat, a pang of guilt twisted in my chest, even though I was the one who'd caused it. Weiwei, I like you. When I get my paycheck, I'll give you all the money. Okay. I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer, confessing my feelings in a rush. Shen Weiwei let out a soft laugh, her voice gentle as she teased. Now that even you belong to me, of course your money is mine too. Watching her playful, triumphant expression, a surge of protectiveness welled up in my heart. Deep down, a voice told me that Shen Weiwei was absolutely not the kind of person she appeared to be last night. She must have some hidden struggles. Even though I was nearly 10 years older than her, I was still in my prime, young and strong, while she was even younger and beautiful. With our own hands, we could surely build the life we wanted without resorting to such shady dealings. Silently, I made up my mind, my gaze softening as I looked at her. From that day on, Shen Weiwei agreed to be my girlfriend, and it quickly became the happiest thing to happen to me in a long time. We lived blissfully like this until a month later. When my paycheck arrived, I stared at the balance in my bank account, over 30,000 yuan. Remembering what my friend had said when he recommended this job, that I'd definitely earn over 10,000 and that it might even solve my life's big problem, I realized I'd been too cynical. Now, not only did I have a girlfriend, but my salary far exceeded 10,000. Life couldn't have been better. During the day, Shen Weiwei and I were inseparable, lost in our own little world. At night, I'd scroll through my phone, watch videos, and if I got bored, I'd head to the supermarket behind the station to chat with her, continuing our sweet moments. Such an easy job with such a high salary. What more could I ask for? After getting paid, I kept thinking about buying Shen Weiwei a gift. I should have taken her to a big mall, but for some reason, the boss had been keeping a close eye on us lately. So instead, I ordered her a set of cosmetics online and picked it up from the delivery station during the day. But when I got back, I didn't see her again for the rest of the evening. Her phone went unanswered, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't dare call the boss for help. What if she just stepped out for something, and my panic call got me fired? That would be unforgivable. That night, the same mysterious luxury car pulled up again, putting customer service first. I pushed thoughts of Shen Weiwei aside. This time, when a middle-aged man stepped out, a heavily made-up woman followed him, dressed in flashy, eye-catching clothes. Top up. Boss Wang glanced at me and handed over another briefcase, this one noticeably heavier. Confusion hit me. Hadn't he just topped up 100,000? Was it already gone? Before I could process it, a wave of perfume hit me. The woman trailing behind him hadn't even reached me, but her scent had. Now that I got a good look at her, the only word to describe her was worldly. Top up time, little bro, she said, her voice oddly familiar. When I finally recognized her, my mind went blank. It was Lu Ro, the girl Shen Weiwei had scolded that night. 07, seeing her like this, I couldn't connect her to the naive-looking girl from the hallway. The change was too drastic. What had she gone through in just a month? Little bro, why are you just standing there? She swayed with every step. It's not like you haven't seen this before. This time, it's 400,000. Don't mess it up. Make sure it goes to the gold account. Got it. For 100,000. My mind turned to mush. I barely registered walking to the counter or processing the transaction. The computer screen showed dozens of spending records under Boss Wang's name, each one shockingly high. The smallest charge was 3,500, and the date matched his last visit. Suddenly, it all clicked. This recharge for free wine was just a front, masking something far more sinister. What exactly was he consuming in those guest rooms? And why was Shen Weiwei so determined to keep it from me? Big brother, Lu Ro called out softly, blinking at me. Don't forget to bring the snacks up, and make sure it's the same price as last time. My heart jolted. Price. She emphasized the price. Last time, it was 110 yuan. Why bring that up again? What was she trying to say? Was she really hinting for me to call the police? Hey kid, what are you staring at my woman for? You got a thing for her. Boss Wang's tone was teasing, but there was an undercurrent of anger. I quickly shook my head, not daring to speak. Figures. Heard Shen Weiwei's been hanging around you lately. You got some luck. Kid, other men have to throw down a fortune just to get near her. And here you are, getting it for free. I forced a smile and lower my head, afraid he'd see the shock in my eyes. But as I looked down, I spotted a bedsheet tucked under the counter. What the? Then it hit me. This was Shen Weiwei's. Why would she leave it here? Boss Wang led Lu Ro toward the back of the store, and I quietly pulled the sheet out. Stains of red dotted the fabric. My mind went blank. This was the same sheet from the night Shen Weiwei and I had. She'd been too shy to even look at me then. But Boss Wang's words just now made it clear she'd been with others too. Big brother. The keycard. Lu Ro called from the elevator to the guest rooms. My face tightened. I've been so caught up in thoughts of Shen Weiwei. I'd forgotten the most important thing. I hurriedly handed her the gold keycard. Before stepping into the elevator, she whispered, "Don't forget the snacks." Then the doors closed. To hide my panic, I rushed back to the counter. My mind a storm of confusion and anger. What the hell was going on? It felt like everyone knew something I didn't, even Boss Wang. an outsider, seemed more clued in about this gas station than I was. I was a fool, played by everyone, but tonight was far from over. Boss Wong had barely left when, one after another, luxury cars began pulling in, filling the parking spots within minutes. I stared at the cars and the customers casually recharging hundreds of thousands, sinking deeper into bewilderment. They were all regulars, familiar with the rules. As I processed their transactions, I saw dozens, some even hundreds, of past purchases, all with staggering amounts. By the time the last guest took his gold key card and left, I tallied the night's earnings. 5 million. In just 2 hours, 5 million had passed through my hands, a sum I'd never even dreamed of. Yet now it barely registered. None of this felt real. Gritting my teeth, I grabbed a bottle of wine and stormed upstairs to the guest rooms. No matter what, I was getting answers tonight. I refused to believe Shen Weiwei was that kind of person. I refused to accept that everything between us had been a lie. But when I burst into the room, I froze. It was empty. I searched room by room, from the first floor to the third, but didn't see a single soul. They had all vanished. A chill ran down my spine until I heard Shen Weiwei calling my name from the first floor, snapping back to reality. I grabbed the bottle of red wine and rushed downstairs. When she saw me descending with the wine in hand, her expression instantly darkened, losing all traces of her earlier gentleness. What were you doing up there? Go back to your gas station. If someone comes, take their money. If there's nothing to do, play on your phone or sleep, just stay put. She snatched the wine from me, her voice laced with unmistakable anger and an unyielding tone. I refused to leave and instead confronted her. Where had she been today? Where was Lu Ro? I even told her about the information I discovered, making it clear I knew she had lied to me. Soon, we were locked in an argument, but she stubbornly refused to answer any of my questions. Just then, Boss Wong approached with 2 men in tow. Oh dear, what's this? Little brother, did you upset our lovely Shen Weiwei? Boss Wong chuckled at me. Can't bear to let your girlfriend go. Let me tell you, a real man shouldn't be so petty. Keeping such a beauty all to yourself, that's just not right. One of the men beside Boss Wong immediately stepped forward and took hold of Shen Weiwei, suppressing my fury. I forced myself to stay calm. Boss Wong, Weiwei's just a cashier. You already have Lu Ro, just let her go back. Go back. Boss Wong burst into laughter as if he'd heard the funniest joke. Are you really this stupid? Or just pretending? Weiwei, come on, tell him yourself. Are you really as innocent as he thinks? He pinched Shen Weiwei's cheek, but instead of getting angry, she ignored me completely, flashing a smile as she followed them into the elevator. I hurried after them, but just before the doors closed, Shen Weiwei shot me a glare, signaling for me to leave. The others paid no attention as I reached the elevator. Boss Wong swiped his golden token, and the doors slowly shut. Watching the floor indicator, my heart skipped a beat. The elevator wasn't going up, it was descending. No wonder I couldn't find anyone earlier, no matter how hard I searched from the first to the third floor. The guest rooms weren't just above ground, there was a whole underground level. As the display showed B1, my heart pounded wildly. Taking a deep breath, I pulled out a token and opened the elevator doors. Stepping inside, I pressed the button for B1. As the elevator descended, the underground floor unfolded before my eyes. 09, the basement level, was far larger than the floors above. This wasn't a rest area or guest rooms, it was a den of vice. Hidden beneath the gas station was a casino. Rows of slot machines, mahjong tables, card tables, and gambling stations filled the space, while waitresses in dazzling outfits weaved through the crowd. They carried trays of drinks, enduring groping hands from every man they passed, yet they never lost their smiles, no matter how far the men went. Now I finally understood why these people were willing to load so much money into their accounts at this tiny gas station. The colored tokens in their hands were passes to this underground world. The hue determined their spending tier. Here, a golden token made you untouchable, a king who could have anything he desired. Forget high-stakes gambling if they wanted. The women here were at their beck and call. And for someone like me, if they were in a bad mood, crushing me would be as easy as stepping on an ant. Hey, kid, come here. The man who called out to me was one of the guys who had been standing beside Boss Wong earlier. He pointed at me, his tone displeased. What the hell are you looking at? Yeah, you, get over here. Now, at that moment, the man had a woman in his grip. Her face was streaked with tears, her eyes filled with pain, yet she seemed to be suppressing any resistance, letting him force liquor down her throat. There was no way she could drink like that. Inevitably, she choked, spitting out everything she had just swallowed. And the man holding her wasn't spared either. Enraged, the man cursed and kicked her in the stomach. The woman's face twisted in agony, but she didn't make a single sound the entire time. Hey, Brother Lu, we're all here to have fun. No need to get angry. Suddenly, Shen Weiwei pushed through the crowd and approached the man, clearly trying to mediate. But the man immediately grabbed her by her long hair and slammed her face onto the table. Not get angry. She ruined my mood. What? You want to make it up to me? Then maybe I'll let her go. Shen Weiwei's face contorted in pain, tears glistening in her eyes. Then, From behind, Boss Wong's voice rang out. Tonight, I'm taking Lu Ro and this Shen Weiwei. Money's no issue. I'm gonna enjoy myself. In an instant, jeers and insults erupted all around. Ever since I'd come downstairs, the scene before me had left me unsettled. Now, the voices seemed to swirl around me, distant yet close, and my mind felt like it was about to explode. Then, a sharp slap cut through the noise. My vision focused on Shen Weiwei's swollen cheek, her tear-streaked face, her long hair obscuring the other side, just like that day when she had shyly covered her eyes. Suddenly, my head burned with fury, a wildfire of rage igniting in my chest. By the time I snapped back to reality, the 2 bottles of red wine in my hands had already shattered against the man's skull, and I was shielding a panicked, helpless Shen Weiwei. Then, I felt countless fists and kicks raining down on me. Beat him to death. This bastard called the cops, but they were too late, even though my phone had been kicked away. The call had already gone through. I don't remember when I blacked out. The last thing I saw was Shen Weiwei's frightened yet tender gaze. The last sounds I heard were her calling my name and the wail of a police siren. 10. When I woke up, the first thing I saw was the sterile white of a hospital room. Lu Ro sat beside me, peeling an orange. She was wearing a police uniform now, a far cry from the outfit she'd had on that night. Gotta say, that uniform suits you way better than what you were wearing before, I remarked, relieved to see I was alive and that the ordeal was over. Lu Ro shot me a glare, clearly unamused by my teasing, and rolled her eyes with a cold snort. She finished peeling the orange, and just as I reached for it, she pulled it back and ate it herself. I'm a patient here, I protested. You think you deserve an orange. You got beaten so badly you're bleeding internally. You're on kanji for the next week. I chuckled weakly, then asked, where's Shen Weiwei? Lu Ro chewed slowly, deliberately drawing out the suspense until she'd finished the entire orange before answering. Oh, Weiwei Jia. Didn't expect this from you. You're not much a fighter, but you've got guts. With all those guys beating you up, you still managed to shield her. She didn't get a single scratch. As Lu Ro explained, the pieces fell into place. Shen Weiwei's father had been the first to notice something off about that gas station. And as a cop, he'd been investigating Boss Wong for 3 years. Unfortunately, just as he was about to uncover the truth, he was framed and died under mysterious circumstances, with even the murderer remaining unknown. Following Shen Weiwei's father's death, her mother, unable to bear the shock, fell critically ill and eventually passed away. The only thing keeping Shen Weiwei going was her determination to avenge her family. With the help of the police, Shen Weiwei successfully changed her identity, infiltrated the gas station, and after a year, became a cashier while gaining access to the most secretive underground area. Through these efforts, she finally uncovered all the details of the underground casino and gathered solid evidence of the crimes. Lu Ro was also an undercover agent planted by the police to assist Shen Weiwei. As for me, I was an accident, but fortunately, this accident ended up doing something right. The first day I met Boss Wong was actually when Shen Weiwei and her team planned to close the case. However, Lu Ro's sudden withdrawal nearly ruined the operation, forcing them to continue undercover and wait for another opportunity. The sense of justice and responsibility I displayed throughout these events deeply moved Shen Weiwei, which led to everything that happened in the dormitory. It was all natural, with no ulterior motives involved. Hearing this, I slowly let out a sigh of relief, reassured that Shen Weiwei hadn't been putting on act with me. The 2 price tags were actually signals for me to call the police, but my reactions were too convoluted, and I kept hesitating. It wasn't until the last incident, when I witnessed the true nature of the underground operation, that my doubts were finally dispelled, and I decisively chose to call the police. Though the process was life-threatening, the outcome was good. Everyone was arrested, and aside from my serious injuries, no one else was harmed. Here, this is what Weiwei asked me to give you. It has her real name on it, Lu Ro said, handing me a glass of water. You lucked out this time. Oh, and one more thing, Weiwei didn't use any shady methods to get into the inner circle, so don't you dare think otherwise. She waved her fist at me. If I ever find out you treat Weiwei badly, you're done for. After her fierce warning, Lu Ro glanced behind her and left. The person behind her then slowly walked up to me and sat down, her eyes filled with tenderness and glistening with tears. Who else could it be but Shen Weiwei? The end.